everything they told him to. Lined up and took every single jab. And every time I'd beg him, Dad, please just think, he'd just laugh and call me crazy. We spread his ashes at his favorite park. I have to say I thought I was out of tears, until his sister whispered into my ear, my love, welcome to our weeping years. Welcome to our weeping years. Tanya was a nurse working in the bush. She didn't want to take it herself, but because she loved the people out there, she decided to take a chance. Now she's going through a metamorphosis because Pfizer gave her multiple sclerosis. Now she lives with her mother in the city like a ghost, watching us all forget her. And while she is still too angry for tears, all I could hear in her burning eyes was her broken heart warning me, my love, welcome to our weeping years. Welcome to the weeping years. No one is allowed to talk about it. Take all your pain and keep it to yourself. If vaccines are safe and effective, then you must be the thing that's wrong. You're not worthy of state recognition. You're not worthy of any compensation. Not even worthy of a human singing your song. She was 92 and dying in a nursing home, and because her family said no to the jabs, none of them were allowed to see her, so it was clear she would die alone. But then one of her older granddaughters took matters into her own hands. After dark, she would break into the home and sneak down the corridors like a thief. And while the cares were all watching TV, she would climb in bed and spoon her grandmother. She would get into her grandmother's foot and spoon. And even now I can see them there, huddled together like babes lost in the woods, as we in our endless madness, hurricanes around them, as our madness hurricanes. Oh, can't you hear our gods whispering? If you guys don't find a way to conquer fear, then you're just gonna keep traveling down deeper into the weeping years. Deeper and deeper and deeper into the weeping years. And no one is allowed to talk about it. Take all your pain and keep it to yourself. Look around at all these tumultuous years, for lying has replaced the truth. And the one lie that they need to you to sell to your children is that their system cares for you.
I always wanted to be a writer. I always loved writing and photography, but secretly, if I couldn't write, I always wanted to be a sculptor, but I just don't have the eye for it. And David Puustinen, Puustinen, I'll ask him how to say his second name. He's been a follower, and I've been watching his posts and stuff, and so I decided to ask him on. He's kindly agreed. So we're going to have a chat tonight with a sculptor and a sculptor's view of the current world. And here he is. G'day, David.
Hello, Michael and audience. But firstly, I just want to say that song you just played makes my heart rage and thumping. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this interview now? Because I'm feeling angry.
Maybe it's a time, we're both artists. Maybe it's time to light up and chew on.
Well,
How do you say your second name? That's very
Puustinen.
interesting to use.
Puustinen. So in Finland,
Puustinen.
P, it sounds more like a B, but it's a PB, like Puustinen.
Okay.
So
Puustinen.
the first three letters PUU mean wood.
Wow. Wow. Do you know, I saw a scientist, it was on Instagram, so it must be true. And he was talking about the rarest material in the entire world is in the entire universe, that they know of is wood. I find that fascinating. What draws you to wood?
The sensual experience. My grandfather's workshop when I was like 7, 8 years of age, and just the smell of hewn pine in his bus that he converted into a workshop. Unlike yours, it was stationary, and it evoked my senses, and I felt alive, I felt safe, I felt nourished. It was like food. And I don't know if yourself, Michael, or anyone in the audience has smelt hewn pine from Tasmania. It is the most fortifying fragrance I have ever smelt.
Well, I don't know if I've smelled it. I have spent some time in Tasmania, but Kel's from born in Tasmania, so she just agreed. Hewn pine, as far as I know, it was sought after because it was the greatest thing for ships and stuff like this. Isn't that true?
Correct. For its oil content, its buoyancy, its slow growth aspect. Like the wood grain is very tightly knitted together because it grows less than 1 millimetre a year. Scientists did discover a hewn pine tree in Tasmania, about 20 years ago, the size of all the root structure, and it created a hewn pine forest. They estimate about 45,000 years of age from this one hewn pine tree. So it's very slow growing, so therefore it prevents water from penetrating the grain, which generally rots out timber. So there's, for instance, Lake Pedder that was flooded. You can get a license, I heard, to chain out hewn pine trees that are still there today. And you pull it out of the water and it will be as it was potentially the day it was covered with water. Yes.
That's extraordinary.
It is.
It is. And what got you into sculpting? Have you been always doing it, or?
No, I started off, let's say, I desired to be a furniture maker. That was after.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably when I was about 15. I wanted to get into architecture, and my auntie talked me out of it because it was a recession back in 88, 89. And she said, my architecture friends, they drive taxis now. And I thought, that's not
That was called the recession we have to have.
Yes. And it continues on, doesn't it? That we didn't have to have too. But it's the furniture making. And then I started an apprenticeship as a wood machinist. My dream was shattered with all the mass-produced sort of aspects of, I was making Queen Anne furniture at the time, and I was terrified of cutting off my fingers. So I left and worked at McDonald's full time. Whilst I was doing my apprenticeship, wages were low. I was earning about $126 a week first year. So I worked at McDonald's at night to prop my wages up. And then what had happened was, this was about age 17. I was a compulsive gambler. I followed my father's footsteps.
Wow.
And I would get my McDonald's wages, go to the casino, always win, but then I would walk home with nothing except for $5 worth of port, a cheap $5 bottle of port. So this was a weekly occurrence, and I was just eating McDonald's because I had no money. And then my grandmother. Sorry.
Can we talk about the gambling before we move on? Because it's really interesting. We always hear about it, but how quickly did it become compulsive? And what was the compulsion? Was it just the thrill of maybe one more push or whatever gambling you were doing? It could have been a win. What was the attraction? Do you know?
I felt alive. I felt animated. I guess I felt what we aren't taught as men in day-to-day life, to feel that exhilaration and that rush of life, that risk, that chance.
Yeah.
And we don't have the saber-toothed tigers now. And
no, we don't.
We only have pesky governments and police. So, which was fun. I must admit, I felt alive in 2020, but that's another story. But we're talking about gambling.
I totally understand what you're saying, because I'm from that. I'm 66 born in the 80s and stuff. Even though people say there was a lot of fun, society was so safe. It was like everything was beige, and so I was always looking for excitement, or something to give life an edge. And I think that's why I was addicted to writing, because at least I was exploring whatever thing I was doing. You know what I mean? And focus in it. I really struggled with just going to work, paying bills, sitting there watching The Simpsons, going to bed,
Yes.
Is that was for you?
Look, I've only owned, I didn't really own it. I only owned a TV once in my life, and that was, later it came when I started becoming materialistic. But there was a sense of, I was desiring, that fulfillment. And so could I just talk into how I got into art?
Sure.
That's the basics.
Yeah, no worries, man. Whatever you want. It's just really interesting because the compulsions and getting out of it. But the artist, sure, you go where you want, man.
So it relates to the gambling.
Cool.
And I didn't want to lose my train of thought, and I'm a bit racy at the moment. I'm excited about being here too. So I hope I'm respectful and listening and not cutting you off too. And so basically,
I like that. We always do that.
Okay, and we swear a bit too, and that's all right.
Yeah, we can swear. What the hell?
So Michael, 17th Christmas, my grandmother gave me a canvas and some paints for a Christmas present, and my brother, and we sort of looked at each other and laughed a little bit under our breath. Oh, thanks, Nan, this is nice. And then one day, out of boredom and probably not having any money because I had lost it all at the casino, I decided to do a painting, and I could not believe what I did. It was just a landscape from a photo from Flinders Island. When Mum was over there, she gave me the photo. But I felt so much peace. And I just, like that, forgot about gambling. And every week when I got paid, rather than going to the casino, I went to the art shop and bought a bigger canvas, more paints, until one day I thought, I'm going to art school. And that only occurred because I was at McDonald's one day and I just broke down crying because I didn't know why I was there anymore. And I just felt so blocked, so numb. And then all of a sudden I'm at art school and I felt at home. I felt like I was heard. I felt like I was understood. They were speaking my language. And so my life as a creative person started as a painter.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yes. And then eventually, age 20, I'm not sure if you read my website statement. I was in Launceston at the time, and I was just standing in the backyard one Saturday morning and just noticed the eucalyptus trees, and it just put me in this beautiful state of peace and connection. I thought, I'd love to create totem poles one day. It wasn't, let's say, inspired by Native American culture at the time, like a lot of young, youthful men and women are, that are searching for some spiritual relevance in our world. And we look to, let's say, the Native Americans. Not that they would really look at us, but we have them for guidance. So, it was just a thought. And then 4 years later, just out of boredom, I decided to start hacking into a woodcutter's block that was in the backyard. And 3 months later, I was still working on this one piece. And that's where it all began at age 24.
And what tools were you using?
Just one gouged chisel and a wooden mallet that was falling apart.
And could you see what you wanted to create within the piece? That's what I say. So you looked at it, but did you have an idea of what you wanted it to be, or were you just exploring as you went?
It was just an exploration, just following the form, the shape, the feel, a very organic sort of two rounded juxtaposed sections with a carved out concave section in the middle where the two sides sort of met, juxtaposed, non-isometric, sort of imbalance, but it had this beautiful proportionate sort of to the eye, a balanced form. And it was a very hard piece of timber, of course, because it was a cutting block, and it anchored me. It made me feel like I was starting to earth my, let's say, energy, consciousness. I felt safe, because much of my life I have not felt safe. I have experienced huge amounts of traumas, mistrust of life, governments, even family at certain stages, friendships, society in general. But when I was carving wood, I felt safe, and other people could feel that from me. Because when I wasn't feeling safe, I was quite scary, because I pushed people away. And
can I ask, when you're doing the wood, I'll come back to that in a sec, but when you're doing the wood, like if I'm writing the characters, because when I say play, the characters dictate the way they're going to go. You can't just make this character go this way because you want him to. When you're working with a piece of wood, is it like a collaborative piece, because you're wanting to create something, but the wood also has limitations or something where it wants to go, or are you in full control? This wood's going to do what I want to do.
Sometimes it does. Every now and then I'll draw up an image directly onto a piece of wood, and I know exactly how it's going to go. If it's going to be like more of an abstract symbolic form, like, let's say, for example, the shape of
the pictures up.
Yes, absolutely.
I've got a question here too. This question, I was just gone. Does he still have it? Can you ask him, please? I'm not sure what does he still have it, what it means. Does he mean?
Probably the first piece I created.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just say. So this is an abstract one. Is there? And how? Yeah. And this, I had to say it. This really grabbed me. Yeah. What's with the thing under her hand? Is that just the wood itself? It's just, I don't know.
I can't see what you're looking at. Sorry.
Oh, it's a figure of a woman, and she's got a thing up here, and it's got a hand.
Yes. So that's sea spirit. So that's a pregnant mermaid. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter did the hand on that for me. Yeah. A pregnant mermaid. Yeah, my daughter did the hand because she wanted to earn some pocket money. So I said, okay, here's a chisel, off you go. She's very gifted. So she's 14, but she knew what she was doing. And so it's a pregnant mermaid, and she's very protective of the being inside her belly.
Yeah.
And that piece, I had no idea what I was creating. So on that particular day, sometimes a piece of wood will call me, and I may store bits of wood, blocks for months, even a year or so. And then a piece will call me, and I just for a couple of weeks, I was trying to draw up images, ideas, what to do with that piece. In the end, it's like, nah, surrender. I just got the chainsaw and just started cutting in and making little marks here and there. And then slowly the figure started to form. And I'm like, oh, not another figurative one, because I do like the abstract stuff. But that had a very totemic, archetypal feel. And it really, really touched me, and I journeyed quite deeply at that time in my life, and it held a place for me, but also it was quite a difficult process.
When you say form, because it's like you're uncovering it, because the sculptor is in the wood. You're just sort of peeling it away. Is that what you feel like, or it's because he's not like molding it out of clay? That's the thing that I can't get my head around. I'd love to, but you see this block of wood and you're getting it down to this.
It's the removal aspect of a piece of wood. So if I don't know what I'm going to create, I'll just it's like if you're dancing, you don't tell your body how you want to move. You naturally just move in a way that feels right. So I could do the same with a chainsaw or a chisel or whatever the tool, tapping away because I feel like tapping there or I feel like tapping there. And certain marks will suggest an image or, I feel like going in deeper. Like you're going on a journey, you're driving in your bus and you don't know where you're going, but you just go down that road because something's called you there. And then all of a sudden, it starts to make conscious sense. So there's parts of our being, I think, that, past, present, and future are all linear time, but we go beyond the linear time sometimes, and past, present, future are all one. It's one sphere. So we could see into the future when we are sometimes feeling. And then all of a sudden, you're creating the image that almost like you were talking to in the future, and it becomes realized. That's my, I guess, analogy of that relationship of carving into the unknown, I guess, writing a story.
It's almost like faith. You have a trust of something more than just your clinical, logical side. It's working on another, because what you said then is when the piece calls to you. I mean, that's really special. I know I can say, like, I've always loved poetry, and you can sit down and write it, but often you feel a poem coming. There's something, and I've heard other artists say this, a song or a poem, you can just feel it coming. And I'm just putting this up here. So this is, I'm just putting up your link to your Substack because someone here, Alexa Cerny, would like to buy the piece. So I don't know if it's available for free. That's the links there to David's Substack, wherever you went. Alexa.
Yep. Thank you.
So she can contact you through that. So if you
correct,
want to look at
correct, and also the website. I'm not sure if you got a link to that, but it's davidpuustinen.com. And Puustinen is spelled Puustinen, and people can contact me through that website if they would like to have a chat, basically, and. I think that's what it's about. And I'm starting to realize this, Michael, more and more than selling work is connection is greater. And if work sells, it's like, that is a validation. But if I wanted to make money, I would have been into finance or a lawyer or a doctor or something like that.
This is the website here, guys.
That's the invitation, and
that comes on the website. It must be the front page.
That's the website. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, correct. So that's
some of these are quite big. Sculpting made easier for me when my mind is clear of thoughts, focusing intently upon the wood, moving the mass to reveal an image. I am then observing a process of creation without hindrance, sculpting with an internal zone of silence, like an observer of a candle flame in stillness. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks,
Do you know
Michael.
that it reminds me, um, not so much now because I'm not writing now, but when I was writing plays like crazy in the theatre company, I know my ex Rahana used to go, "Oh, he's gone. Forget him. You won't get any sense out of him," because I was so focused. I
Yeah.
literally had to feel like you had to take a train ticket to come back to the world to deal with ordinary things, and yet you never all came back because there was so much of you invested in what you were uncovering, and it actually did feel like you were uncovering. I actually felt if I could get the start of the play or a poem, but the end of the play, then the rest of the play was already existed. I wasn't sort of creating it as uncovering it like an archaeologist or something. This is, I know it sounds bizarre, but that's how it felt, you know?
Yeah. And Michael, can I ask you, did you feel like a sense of healing happens in that space? Like,
I used to feel guilty for a lot of the things I had to put the characters through, but I always tried to search for hope in how they reacted to whatever they had to face. So I never used to write villains. I never really used to write heroes. I just like writing about people because that's what I saw, you know. And growing up, I used to see betrayals of working class people, and I always thought they're just empty and shallow. And I've just found everyone to be complex, puzzled, no matter how simple they appear when you first meet them. It just boggles the mind that we have 8 billion people on this planet, all of them living their own odyssey to a certain degree. You know,
Yeah.
some of them don't actually want to participate. They're dragged along. Others delve in, and I've always loved the wilder people, the people almost like yourself, the people go, okay, this is like the Robert Frost poem. This is two paths in the wood. He took the one less traveled. I've always admired that in people because I'm thinking, you're here once. Why take the freeway where everyone's on it? Why not explore? Why not find out? Maybe if you turn up and the angels go, yeah, okay, have you got your review of life? I go, yeah, here it is. I've got plays, poems, and you know, cracks, scratches, scars, bruises. What do you want? Here's my heart, all beaten up, it still beats a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I almost felt like that was the purpose of life, was to explore it. And I just chose to explore it through characters and writing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a driving force to the what you create? You know, you say you like the abstract. What is it about the abstract you like?
For me, the abstract is more about the feeling, as opposed to the figurative, which is more about the thinking.
Yeah.
So that's why I sort of even it out, not consciously, like I'm going to do 5 abstracts, 5 figurative. It just happens that way because sometimes, you know, if I do a really loose abstract, I have to balance out my mind with a very linear, symmetrical abstract, or I need that intellectual challenge of doing a figurative piece, of which I'm not or far from anatomically correct like Romanesque. It's more expressive of the figurative, and since I realised that, I was able to then start producing work rather than 9 times out of 10 the work ended up on the fire heap. When I let go of that perfective sort of nature, and that's where the freedom started to come, by accepting that pinnacle place of beauty with every piece.
Can you go back to that journey to there? That's more interesting than the compulsive gambling, because as an artist, I'll get back to AI in a sec, but tell us about that journey of breaking away from perfection and just how long that took.
Probably about 25 years.
Yeah,
about 25 years. Yeah. So when I was If you want a brief history,
No,
or
take your time, man. I'm enjoying this. I don't care. I don't know where to go.
okay, I trust that. Yeah, it's good. So,
I'm not have to clickbait here, mate. This is old white man talking.
oh, wait, man, I'm catching up. 25 years ago, I was about 26, and I would like to acknowledge the sculptor I started working with, Lee Conkey in Eltham. He's created this beautiful documentary film called Lee on YouTube. It showed at the Nova Cinema, and Leigh, and he's a wood sculptor, and we went through a very similar journey in our history, and we met by the gods, fating, or, whatever. Anyway, I was thrown into the deep end, chainsaw for the first time, block of wood. There you go. Don't cut your foot off. Great teacher. I still got both my feet. And so basically, I started with a female figure, very voluptuous breasts, robust, hands up like that. And she took me 2 weeks to do, and I sold it for $800 very quickly. And it was like amazing feeling, validation. And so that propelled me into creating the next piece. And the next piece was an abstract piece, very similar to one I'm showing at Artemisia Gallery at the moment. That one's called Spirit Pole. This one was called The Beach. And it was about 6.5 feet tall. And it was on the main road of Eltham, a suburb outside of Melbourne. And so you get thousands of cars drive past. It was great publicity, and we'd have busloads of people drive in. And, some people would be weeping because they were moved. And, some people were like stunned because you don't see this happen in day-to-day life. So Lee's a bit of a rebel. He overtook a council property that wasn't being used. Council tried to kick him off. And, he just said, whatever, and we just kept going. And then one particular day, a gentlemanly character jumped out of his nice looking Volvo. This was around the year 2000. And said, oh, yeah, hey, yeah, I like your sculptures. Yeah, we wouldn't mind this sort of stuff at our gallery. And I'm like, okay. And I had my head sort of in the dark a bit, so I wasn't up with other artists or other galleries. I was sort of reasonably new to Victoria. And I said, oh, yeah, great, no worries. What's the name of your gallery? He said, yeah, the Heidi. And I'm like, where's
the
that?
Heidi.
The Heidi. The Heidi. I didn't.
For everyone who doesn't know, the Heidi is like one of the main modern art museums in Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah. So I later found that out, and then he said, "Oh, look, there's I think the Nillumbik biannual Artists Awards or Sculpture Prize. Would you like to enter it?" And I said, "Yeah, no worries, put it in." And then the person hosting the show wouldn't allow me to cover it over because I was worried about it getting wet. And he said, "Well, you can't do that." And I said, "Okay, I'm taking it out." And then I realised what I'd done. Because I was very rigid, non-flexible. That was like my opportunity to move into a place that I was called. And when you're young, these opportunities come to you a lot easier. So after that experience, I had a breakdown and moved out to the forest, lived by myself, worked in a sawmill, and just put sculpture behind me. But it haunted me. It haunted me for 25 years. Every now and then I'll pick up a piece of wood, I'll try and carve something, and it'll turn to rubbish. And I was living with my own personal shames, my guilts, my unresolved traumas, unresolved aspects of self. I wasn't living, and I was ashamed to be alive, and I got into building, and I just couldn't fit with other builders because I was different. And hurt and wounded. So I found myself just building by myself, my own jobs, and I got by that way. But there was always that inner frustration of, I know I'm a sculptor, and I know I'm terrified of going there. I was absolutely terrified because it's sickening to spend days, weeks, months, even years sometimes on a piece, and I cut it up and put it on the fire heap because it was like torture. And this went on for years and years. So it was like I reached a point in myself when I was 26 and I was opening, and then I closed because of my fears, and my fears were amplifying. And, you could say mental illness is attached to that and all that. So off I go on my healing journey to center and square myself together. And that's where the building industry was really good because, everything's straight, plumb, square, same method every time. It allowed my mind to relax while I was able to center myself and let go and learn focus. So then, so what actually happened? It was 2023. I had an outcome with the help of Morris Blackburn lawyers. I decided to sue the government. And I succeeded.
Sue them for what?
So I was sexually abused by the primary school principal, and that it was always a shadow.
Yeah, man.
And I'm amazed. I'll say this: I'm amazed that I'm telling you this, and whoever's listening, because I had a big process yesterday morning, just before you called me. Telling a friend, he wanted to know my story, so I thought I can't keep it in anymore.
Yeah.
And so years and years and years ago, I tried to approach lawyers because it was this constant haunting of what had happened, and no one wanted to hear. People that I would tell because I needed to talk to someone was like, I never saw them again. And it wasn't the time in history. And I remember this particular day. I'm sorry if I'm going all over the place. It just feels
man. Like you're an artist. Go for it.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
So what had happened was the day of the George Pell case. It was a Tuesday. That's all I remember. And I didn't listen to TV, read newspapers. I liked listening to Philip Adams on Radio National until I soon worked out where the ABC was at, but that wasn't until 2020, but that's another story. But I turn up to
there. You've just inspired.
Really?
Head one day. Thank you, Dave. You just inspired me to finish it. Good on you, Rick.
Oh, well done. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about finishing, completing, and when you start completing your work, it magnifies your existence. It cleans your life up, your consciousness. Your mind could then rest. It's like an unfinished job. It's like what is the relationship? It's like dishes that aren't done after a meal. You can't.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's like you can start another journey.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I've done that journey. I've reached the end of that. Now, okay, I want to be here. And I also want to live now. Okay, I made that journey. I didn't think I did it.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to that, actually. Let's keep going. You're talking about the day of the Pell case.
Yeah, so George Pell. It was a Tuesday. I don't remember what year. And I go to work, and for some reason I'm feeling really odd. I couldn't work it out. It's like I had this shadow cast over me.
Yeah.
And everything felt really black. And I could hardly move my body. It was like a dream where I was trying to get away from a predator, like whether it's a natural predator like a tidal wave or a big wind or a human or an animal, and you're trying to run, but you can't. And that's how that day felt to me. And I noticed other people were really weird. And my boss was like, what's going on? You know, I'm trying to run a business here. So, yeah, I was sickened. And then I jump in the car to go home at about 4 o'clock. I turn on Radio National to listen to Philip Adams, but it was the news first. And it was the parents of the victims, or the so-called victims, talking about the case and the conviction of George Pell. And I was driving, I think it was on Canterbury Road heading out to Mount Evelyn, and I almost put on the brakes in the middle of the three-lane 80-kilometre zone, and stopped exactly where I was. I became frozen, and I became like enraged, and came really close to asking someone to pick me up and take me home.
Oh my Lord, brother.
And so that was the Tuesday. And
So
and
that
then
amount of pain was still inside you all that time.
Oh, yeah.
Deep inside you.
Oh yeah.
And coming up like a volcano then. Just
Yeah. It took me by
Wow.
surprise. And
yeah.
come the Thursday, yeah, I found myself in a psychotherapy session, Jungian-based practice of, you know, working with dreams, etc.
Yeah.
And I came in with this primal rage, and it felt real, and it felt healthy to express, because I've spent much of my life feeling numb and not safe to feel. So,
And do you think that came from that abuse? Did you feel before then?
Only part of that. So I first went numb when my mother and brother came to Tasmania without my father. I was already sent to my grandparents' place because my father wasn't doing too well with alcoholism and violence, and I loved my father, and he wasn't with them, and I sobbed myself to sleep every night, and I always used to picture him in this golden light. And then what had happened was one night I decided I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. And it was just that conscious decision of I can't keep doing this. Shadow came over me, and I just went numb. And then I became enraged with life, out of control, sent to a boys' home at age 6 because no one knew what was going on with me. So that's a very intricate story there. You know, I could talk about what happened for about 3 hours. So I was already starting to go numb. So the school principal thing, you know, it's commonly known that they take care of vulnerable children. And my mother was a single mother, and that was taken advantage of. You know, so
he would have absolutely seen you as ripe for the picking. I hate to say it.
Yes, you know? Yes, myself and, to my knowledge, 2 others. Yeah. So I don't know where we were, but the George Pell righteous rage in psychotherapy appointment, and then a week later I decided I was ready to approach Morris Blackburn, and they were ready. It was time, because 10 years before then no lawyer wanted to look at it. And for me, it wasn't about any monetary gain. You know, I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to make a stand, make a statement. It was no longer about the school principal, but it was about the education department, because I didn't even know if the school principal was alive. He had already spent 9 months in prison on test of another boy in Tasmania. And, you know, so it was no longer about that. I was thinking, well, duty of care, I've got children now. I want to make a stand for my children. So I know whatever I do makes their chance better at surviving been intact by the time they're fully grown adults. So that was the basis of it. So the process goes for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years. Probably wasn't that long. Because you got to get psychiatric assessments. They had to subpoena the Launceston police for witness statements, and the list goes on. So it goes on for a very long time. So anyway, in the end, the outcome was satisfactory enough for me to then go, right, it's what would I be doing unabated if I had no financial hindrances, and it was sculpture. So I had other thoughts of, I mentioned to you before, of traveling Australia and documenting people, similar to like you are, but a little bit differently. But I thought, well, I got to, connect to this dream and, see it through somewhat, because dreams, they can feel like a curse, but they really make you work. A lot of the time you may question, well, what's it all for? But then, when you have soul connections, because it does feel like a spiritual journey, such as your playwrights and your interviews, like, I must admit, I listen to your interviews unashamedly on a regular basis while I'm sculpting. And sometimes I'll use hand tools rather than chainsaws, so I could just listen to what you're saying, and it centers me for some reason.
That's great.
It centers me in my process. So it's art, it's spirituality, it's embodying the relationship of your dream. So bringing your dream into earth, and I honestly feel that. It teaches you how to earth. Like, I heard once that we are the envy of angels because we are embodied earth. Yes. So we get a very different experience to the angels. It's great to be able to connect to the angels with your higher self, but to bring it into earth. And that's what the world is so hungry for. It's, I've got a long way to go. But it feels right, and so anyway, the claim came through, and so I dedicated.
What did it feel like once you'd won that case? Was that like, okay, now a new life can begin? Was it, or did the numbness leave, or were you actually numb again because you couldn't believe you'd reached that point? What did it feel like once the verdict came through?
I stopped talking about it, so that was good. That was a form of closure.
Yeah.
I knew I had probably 2.5 years of money, and where I didn't have to work. Yeah. And I knew I had to work hard to make it happen, because I spend money out of control. And that's one of my weaknesses is self-worth thing. If I have money, I have to get rid of it. And I think a lot of people could identify with that. So I've had to really pull that in, especially getting to the end of some projects. It's like, okay, I prefer not to go back to building. I would like to keep going with this. And so anyway, mission accomplished. I've got 3 shows worth of work now available. And now the practice of not being attached, of whether I sell a single piece or not, because I realise it's about building relationships with myself, gallery owners, admirers, or people that I'm not sure if admire is the right word, or people that are interested, and just building relationships, because that's what it is about. And if people are drawn to a piece, and they want it, they will buy it, and so that's me having to just let go and trust the galleries and the galleries that I've attracted, because I'm a new solo exhibiting artist. And out of the 60, I sent out 60 emails to try and get a place in a gallery, and I got 12 replies back, which was amazing, I think, out of the 60.
That is great.
It felt fantastic. And, they were
Yeah.
saying, sorry, we're fully allocated, or great work, but we only showed paintings to try this gallery, And 3 of those galleries said, yeah, great. A 4th one was umming and ahhing, but they wanted to know, have I had a solo show before? Have I sold work before?
Yeah.
And so now I've got 3 shows booked. That feels solid. I can now say, yes, I've had 3 solo shows. I only have to
Where
sell
are
one.
they? Are they in just Tasmania, or are they all around Australia?
No, they're in, half my work is in Artemisia Gallery in Windsor, 248 High Street, Windsor, or Windsor, Prahran Tarak area. And so that's where they're currently at. And 1/3 of my showing. And, so if I sell one piece, that would be great, because then I could say, yes, I have sold work in a gallery, and that builds your confidence. But galleries that are, let's say, more high profile and want to represent you because they're going to make money from you.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes
the thing
down
is,
to.
let's talk about being an artist. Like, I used to have people sit me down before I got published and going, Michael, look, not everyone wants to tell you this, but they're too scared to. So I'm just going to tell you because I love you. You're just not intelligent enough to be a writer. I've had that said to me. Other things, and they think they're saving me because they're seeing me like he's in his 20s and all he's doing is writing. He's doing shitty little jobs. He's clearly could do something else, and yet he does the shitty little jobs to survive. He's got no food in the fridge, and he's just writing and writing and writing and writing. I mean, I used to have a joke that I'd be the first writer in history couldn't get his eulogy published. The death notices would go, yeah, thank you for this. While we really admire your work, we're not accepting this sort of material. Good luck with another death notice. And so it used to be a joke. At a point, though, I reached a point where I didn't care. I was just so enjoying what I was doing that I thought, oh, well, that's just tough luck. I used to look at Harrison Ford and think, Harrison Ford made it as an actor. He's a huge star. But if he's a pyramid, if he's the pinnacle, then down here, all these layers, there's millions and millions of actors who are working in McDonald's, who are doing other things, who are getting on with their life and putting acting behind them. But inside of them, this thing yearns to create. It does, because you try to walk away from your dream, but your dream doesn't walk away from you. It doesn't let you go.
No, it doesn't.
So, and I think too, as the older I got, what I realized, which was really interesting, was if I got something published or won a competition, it was like, oh, great. And if I got a rejection, it was like, oh, shit. But after a few days, they were both felt kind of the same.
Yeah.
I couldn't hold on to the orgasm of, oh, I've got this thing published. Fantastic. Now I can relax. A few days later, it's gone. And the rejection and the success were kind of the same. And you realized it's not about reaching a destination, resting on your laurels. It's about the creating. I'm blessed. I love it. I just sit down there and if it's, I think I have a friend who's an artist, George, and he got the same. He just was painting and painting and painting. He'd give stuff away because they were so big and stuff like this. And he told me that he'd reached a point where he said, you know what? I'm just going to do my best on a particular piece. And then I hand it to the universe. If the universe wants it, it takes it. If it doesn't, well, it ends up on the fire heap.
Yep.
Such a,
Yep.
Can I ask you, though, do you think you could be the person you are and the sculptor you are today if you'd had a Rebecca of Sunnybrook life farm where it was all daisies and nothing ever bad happened to you? And do you think sometimes the source of the creation is coming from the the odyssey of your life, the pains of your life, the struggles, the realizations you've found, and all of this manifests in your work.
Well, I think my work will be very different because the block of wood I see as a block, an internal block within myself where I'm trying to access a place. So, I've got one particular piece which is called Drooping Lady, and she's like this beautiful figure that is decomposing back into the earth, but she's she's supporting herself with her hands, but she knows the fate, she's going back into the earth, and the struggle to pull that out is moving through the myriad sort of I would say lessons, processes that I have to let go of, which is my soul journey.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that in the way, and I would say there's less in the way now than there was 6 months ago, 12 months ago, etc. Every piece feels like a healing process. What happens is it sets part of me free. So then the next one, I'm less abated. I'm able to create something that maybe shines more. So, which I think, if a man, woman, being whatever is without pain and trauma and creating, they're going to create work that is of a much higher resonance. I really do feel that. But a lot of people are drawn to artworks that do have the pain in it because they could identify with it. It brings consciousness and awareness to a facet of themselves going, that really hurts. And they might cry and release something, an emotion that they've been holding on to for 10 years, 20 years, a lifetime. Yeah. And that's the power of art.
Beauty of abstract sculpture. The beauty of an abstract sculpture is it's like a poem that you don't understand logically, but somehow it moves you and holds you and touches you, and you can't actually put a finger on it. I'm not saying every piece would work, but this is something about it. It's almost like another language you can just sort of understand. You know what I mean? That's what I've seen. I just want to share one story, though, about worth, because as an artist, you really battle worth. Because unless you're one of these famous great artists that the first thing you do is herald as, oh, he's a genius, like Mozart or something. But most of us do a journey. And I had this one play that I wrote, took me 25 years to write because I kept coming back to it. I felt there was a good play there, but I kept coming back to it because I couldn't make it work. And I'd work on it for months. And then I'd hate myself, like, see, you're living in a delusion, you idiot. Anyone else could just knock this out. And what are you doing? You wasted months. Why aren't you getting married? Why aren't you getting a job? Why aren't you going out there and doing something? You're sitting here working on this plane, and you've failed at it. And I'd leave it alone for a year or 2 years. And then I think, oh, maybe I could do this. And I come back to it. And then months later, I'm in the same thing. And every time it got worse. And I was like, it was really torturous until something hit me one day. And I went, oh, that's the missing piece. It was like I'd found a dinosaur and I just missed the head. And then suddenly I thought, what about over there? And I'd uncovered the skull, and then the entire thing made sense. And the funny thing was, I was sitting with Bruce Beresford, who just before COVID, so this director, and he was sitting with this play, and I swear to God, he had it on he was patting it with his hand, and I just managed to get it to him. He was going to direct it, and he said, basically, he said this is the best thing he's read in 20 years, and I just sat there looking at him. I couldn't process it because I was so used to failure. I couldn't process success. What do you do with it? I don't have a compartment for this amount of success. You're supposed to say it's a load of shit or just keep going. Nice try. And so I touched his wrist. I just patted his wrist. And he looked at me like, what are you doing? I went, you're Bruce Beresford. That's what I was trying to bring myself into the moment to go, Mick, you're here. All those years where you said there was a play of worth here, you were right. You just couldn't find it, and everyone else telling you you're mental. Anyway, COVID came along, it all fell apart. I wouldn't get jabbed, so he didn't want to participate. So it's never actually been on. So I'll probably never be on in my lifetime, but I don't care because it's done. It's done. It's back. It's gone. I've moved on. I ain't touching that piece again, unless maybe edits it. But I don't care. It was finally, I found it. It was like if you've got a piece of wood that's driving you crazy and this, and then suddenly something. And that's a blessing when you find it. So yeah, I just want to say that about the journey. And this is about, because what you're talking about is the journey of an artist. Most artists have hard journeys. Most people have hard journeys, to be honest. But what I fear now with AI, even if I use AI to put music to my poetry, what I fear about AI is it might discourage the journey of an artist, because it, say a young person can come up and instead of learning how to paint, they can just do a prompt, and AI can produce a Mona Lisa, and there it is. And however you want, you want a Mona Lisa, but I want it to be Chinese. Boom, done, in seconds. And art is about the journey. These pieces that we leave behind us, every artist, these are like things that we found, and but there's like signposts. We found this, but it's about the journey. You just keep going. I've always, even I remember reading an artist going, why don't you do this? I think it was even Queen. They wanted Queen to do the same old thing, but they didn't want to do the same old thing. They wanted to change. They wanted to explore. And that's what I think we are. And so you're exploring into wood. I've got a feeling there's something here that's in wood, and this is what I found, like evidence of something. And I do it through words, and now I do it through conversation. I love fucking talking to people. I love listening deeply, and they give little clues, and then you're going, can we follow that? And then suddenly they're talking about other things, and just looking for the clues, because we're all of us, like you and me, David, we're here now in the light. We're stuck on this rock that's spinning through a vacuum of space that we can't comprehend. And there's great beauty all around us. And then we've got this, the world is like a kaleidoscope of insanity and beauty crushed together with evil and love. It's just, it's exhausting, which is why I understand that when you get on wood, all that vanishes. I understand that. So saying that, what are your thoughts on the AI, on the journey of artists? And I'll move to another question. Because surely the artist you are now is because of your journey with all its hardships.
So regarding AI, and I just pose this as a question, is can AI create the nuances and those mishaps within a piece that, we all are feeling beings. Most of us aren't feeling, and I'm learning how to feel. And this is like a recent phenomenon for myself. Often I just do, and sometimes I trip over and I go, oh my God, I'm feeling for a moment. And so it's a developmental process to learn how to feel. And feelings are different to emotions. Emotions, the raw energy, the primal urges, lust, anger, rage, all, information coming through us, but our feelings intuit what is going on. So when it comes to art, can we program AI to feel? If AI becomes, let's say, nuanced in itself with, let's say, this is an out there subject, spiritual possession, where entities from, whatever dimension, we're talking about, in this abstract sort of term because I'm not going into it, can influence AI, then there's a question of what is it creating and what place is it coming from. Most
Yeah.
commonly, if I see images, because I receive emails and posts, and people put up AI images, I can't look at it. I'm repulsed because it's not. It doesn't vibrate. It feels
No.
dead matter. Zeros and ones, zeros and ones.
It's a mimic.
A mimic. It is. There's a term that describes the false light, and the false light is that tries to imitate life, and that's the trap. That's the trap that we as people have to overcome. The term temptation, deliver us from evil, whatever, the false lights of the world that we see around us. And the only way we could endure that is by feeling.
Yeah.
And we could intellectualize. So I've been mostly intellectual most of my life without very little feeling. A lot of emotion, lots of rage, lots of grief, all of that, but very little feeling. So feeling is an intelligence, and that will help us discern what's right, what's wrong. And it gets the mind out of the way. So when you're having a conversation, you totally lose yourself in the conversation. You may recognize you're not thinking. It's just flowing through you. But you could feel that it's coming through you. And that's like art.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I see that. It's interesting because the music floors me, and I've got Bill Lober, even the mechanic who works on the bus from the Freedom Mechanics, and Fort Bill. He's been using AI to create music. He's created something really wonderful. It worked the other day. I thought,
Love your music. I love your music. I have to say that. Like when you play your music, I love it. I know it's AI, but I love it.
But I think what it is it's poetry, and it adds to it, But so I will not let it touch the poetry, but it freaks me out a bit, and I don't feel the same sense of accomplishment as I finish a play and it's all mine. I sort of feel a bit like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, but there's something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's, but it's the thing. Anyway, just now though, leaving that behind for a sec. You're in your space now. You're sculpting. It's clear that there's a future there. There's a hunger for what you're doing, which is great. But you're in this time now of tumultuous time. I mean, it's like we wake up every morning and there's just hurricanes of bullshit going around us. What is your view of the modern world and where we are at the moment?
To me, I believe in timelessness.
Okay.
Where past, present, and future, like I said at the beginning, is one. For instance, have you ever had a dream and then you're walking down the street and it happens exactly as it happened in the dream, and a person you hadn't seen for years dyed her hair, but a woman with orange hair in a dream I had walked across the street. I didn't know what street, and the next day I'm walking across the street, this woman with orange hair, and she was my first heartache when I was in high school, years later. So I dreamt that. So it already happened, and then I witnessed it. So when
that happened years ago, but I was young. I haven't had it happen for a long time, but when I was young, it happened.
Yeah, likewise. So I think we're a lot more open when we're younger too. These experiences, and we experiment, we explore, we open up our minds with all sorts of interesting ways. And so when it comes to this time, I just see it as energy. Well, like I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say it, but like we are moving through this channel, like it's all water, and we're moving through a tighter channel, and the water's speeding up, and the water is representative of time and emotion, and all emotions have their time. So it's a speeding up, and then it will come through the other side. And also in this time, I've witnessed there's two streams, and some people have gone where the stream breaks that way, and some people are going that way, and that's why we generally don't see certain people anymore. So there's certainly been a consciousness shift in our culture, and I feel like I have to be very aware, super aware of, get into my feelings, where am I at, because that then grounds me into there's only the present moment. So we've all talked about being in the present moment, but the present moment is past, present, and future, because there is no, because that's linear time. Linear time is like, so we say 8 o'clock tonight, we're there at 8 o'clock, but at the same time, this sounds abstract, we're already there before we get there. And we already know what we're going to say, etc., when we're tuned in. Or it could be a total fuck up, if we lose our center, and 5-minute interview, see you later, Dave, I'll never talk to you again. So this time, okay, talking about energy as time and the water scenario has really helped me, because I needed the mirror of adversity that go this way, because you will survive in this society. And it just didn't feel right. It was very obvious to me 3 days after, my feelings told me. It was obvious. So I went the way, like a lot of us, we didn't know where it was going to take us, but there was this trust. I thought I was the only one, Michael. Like, when I went to the supermarkets to go shopping and you were told you had to wear a mask, it took me 10 minutes to get out of the car to build up the courage. So I learned what courage was like. I was terrified, and I would be running the gauntlet and the death stares, and I was like, the fear I felt, but it's like your only fear, It brought this, it started to bring me into my heart. And I thought I was the only one, but, I was like, I have to be true to myself here. And then one by one, I started seeing other people in my town. And then all of a sudden I was in community.
Yeah.
And real friendships were born.
Yeah.
And so we need adversity. So I think we all need to be grateful for Daniel Andrews. And I think...
Yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, I hope he's in hospital, and I hope it's nothing minor. But at the same time, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be on these journeys we're on now. We need adversity,
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
If that's the test. I mean, we're all wake. I interviewed an ex-police officer yesterday, and he said an amazing comment. He finishes the interview going, he believes that who you wear in COVID is who you are. How you reacted to COVID is who you are. Now, I don't know if that's true, because I've seen people change, but it's a profound comment. That's his journey. But what he said in the piece is that because he was a police officer, he loved rules, but he really thought everything worked this way. He just took it for granted it did. And he says it's all lies. And now he lives on the road with his partner, and they just drift down because he can't get a job anymore because of he got sacked for gross misconduct. And I don't think he wants to work in the system. But at the same time that he's sort of a COVID refugee still drifting around, he's also free and liberated, and he's himself, and he has no regrets. And I wonder if this is a bit like waking up out of the Matrix. The Matrix was like, we're all in these green, the analogy is we're all in these green tubes and tubed up. But I wonder if we were just basically encased in lies. Like, even, I hate to say, going back to your childhood, if you didn't have a principal do something horrendous to you like he did to you took it for granted that the principal was a good person, or you know what I mean. This was how it worked,
Yep.
and so suddenly you've
Yep.
got this great lie that no, he's not. He's this evil predator that
Yeah.
snuck his way in
Yeah.
to feed off the innocent, you know. And at that time too, that evil was so prevalent that it protected itself, which is why you couldn't go to a lawyer, why you had to hide it in. So you were a pure victim, basically surrounded by wolves who were very good at protecting their what's a pack of wolves and protecting their pack. And we're seeing it now with Epstein Island. We're seeing it now with all these things. And that's why I think when I'm on the road now and I'm seeing so many people turn to spirituality, we talked about this the other day, they really want good food. They're really looking to farmers markets or growing their own food. They're not trusting the food that comes from big food anymore. You know, the everything is crumbling down. But I feel if we get through this adversity, as you've gone through to become who you are now, and it's still going with that, I guess. But if we can get through this, I think the destination is going to be finding ourselves and creating a society, at least even if it's only a partial society with our communities, of a place where you can be yourself and you can continue that journey as yourself and be accepted for who you are. That's the beauty of this conversation tonight. You're talking freely. I'm talking freely. You know, 30 years ago, I'd probably be thinking, oh, everyone's going to think he's an idiot. What are you talking about? He's got this. Now it's like, I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I'm here. I don't know why I'm here, but what I know is I want to be me. And if I want to be me wanting to be me has to go across against this tyrannical state, so be it. That's what I'm going to do with my time here. You know, choice. My free.
Yeah, and it magnifies, like, you know, brilliance, and you know, the more our community nourishes. You know, I do miss the time of 2020, Michael, and the protests, and I miss the collaborations, and I miss the bravery. I think we're in a lull. I think we're in a lull, but I think we are also remembering. We have had to regroup and find normality and routine, sanity. But at the same time, I think each and every one of us are questioning, are we ready for the next step? You and I, you know, look, great guys like Alvo will guide us. He's a lovely man. You know, we need him. We really need him.
Yeah. It's a really interesting comment. What I'm seeing now on this journey, since we've reached Whyalla and working our way down, especially Port Lincoln, suddenly people are really wanting to talk. The vaccinated, we interviewed a triple vaccinated Maori leader the other day, and they're coming up to us. You know, we've got other people ready to talk. I think the dam is bursting, and I think it's the darkness fears the light, and the brightest light is the truth. This is what I've been writing in the books that I send off to people, and we have to keep searching for it, because that is what's going to help us make sense of it and help us become the architects for a better country that we can leave our kids. And if the government doesn't want hate speech to stop us basically asking questions, then we have to become outlaws. The thing is to search for the truth as much as we can. And artists, I think, no matter what form you are, real artists are searching for snippets of the truth, something that makes sense on some level, even if it's abstract. I know it sounds like I'm talking bullshit, but that's how I really feel, you know. And I think that's a worthy life. I think that's a worthy life, and just, you know, whatever happens, or it's the one I've chosen. And
Mm.
so now, where before I remember when I was so driven for the theatre, I knew nothing else. Nothing else. I was just in my little bubble and happy as a pig in shit, just making enough money to survive. All that is gone now. But now sometimes I know Kel says it too. We're out there, might have a hard day, something's gone wrong with something as it usually does. But I see it now like a ship at sea, and we've got to have constant maintenance. We don't know where we're heading, but there's a wind behind us. And when I walk to this little bus, and it looks like a flotilla in a sovereign citizen parade, so it'd be interesting what WA makes of it. But I feel, yeah, I feel that I'm living a life of abundance. I feel incredibly blessed. Every day I feel blessed. Even you, David, you sit and talk to me. It's this conversation. I just feel enriched by these connections I'm making with people. And when I share them out and other people share them and it gets other people talking, I feel that's a great blessing too. Because here we are. We're here. Why are we here? Who are we? Where are we going? There's only one way to find out, and that is to chat, to discuss. What have you found on your path, David? Like Richard, what have you found on your path, Richard? We're like explorers, you know. So some people bring back a potato from the new world. You bring back a sculptor. I bring back a song, and we just keep going. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's simple, beautiful. You know.
And yeah, and art, beauty, conversation, as you
Yeah.
say, communication is a guiding light. It helps and nourishes, you know. And I just can't get the politician thing out of my mind because I keep thinking we really need them because
Yeah.
they're showing us the opposite direction that we want to
Yes.
go in.
Yeah.
It just
Yin and
feels,
yang, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I look, I personally feel when we let go, and this is my journey, when I've let go of blame and projecting against the politicians and that, like, I used to feel sickened every time I heard Trump come on the radio before 2020, actually, and I projected all my hatred and anger onto him, and that hatred and anger doesn't go away, it grows, it just keeps growing. And then one day I just started to learn time to stop projecting. But in that process, I became quite isolated too, because it was just a time for feeling and observing and switching off too. So, Israel-Palestine thing, what's happening? That's how I have been, sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people are like that. Also, I think too, for what you're doing as a sculptor, and it's the same as you're writing. If you're writing a piece, isolation is a part of the game. Because you're not isolated from all human beings really, but you're connected to the piece. You're connected to this creation that you're doing, this journey, and some of these pieces, I'd say, I'm guessing you'd feel this with wood. I know I'm talking about my pieces. Is they demand that attention. You've really, I love the pieces that aren't that easy. You can feel they're there. You can feel it's, but maybe you don't know how to pull it off. You don't know how to do it. And you've got to do the journey. And it takes focus, Yeah. Well, that's my interpretation of it.
I agree, Michael. It's an absolute alchemizing journey.
Yeah.
And once again too, like, I do feel all human beings have the ability to find the art in whatever they do, whether it's being a chef, being a builder,
Absolutely.
A lawyer, a doctor. There is always that opportunity to find the artfulness in all things. And and at the end of the day, it's a meditation. It's a structure. This is just my art form, It could be sweeping the streets. At the end of the day, learning how to find grace.
When I was a tram driver, I worked with a guy called Lenny, who was a tram driver for 56 years. He was Melbourne's oldest tram driver. And he always wore the hat and he always dressed thing and he always went slow. And we used to laugh that he'd stop to pick up a rubbish bin. You know what I mean? If there's someone was waiting. But I said to him, Lenny, how have you managed to do it, 56 years? And he said, well, you find something you love and you do it.
Yeah.
And so he felt like he was living in life abundance, really. And he always did it well. He'd always, he didn't just do it like I used to just go along and go, God, I'm so bored of this, what I mean? But he was absolutely into it, as you would be into a sculptor, as I was into anything I'm writing. He was into that with the job. Absolutely. So it's the same thing, you know what I mean? And I think it makes you feel like, even though there's 8 billion people on the planet, maybe we are sent here with things that we're meant to do. And if you can find yourself and find what it is, or have the courage to follow that passion or that drive, well, that's your worthy life. If you end up being Elon Musk, good on you. If you end up being a bum living in a bus, good on you. If you end up being a troubled sculptor who's healing himself partially through the things he makes out of wood, this is the life of David, with the interesting name
Puustinen. Yes.
Puustinen.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Can you say Oosterhouse now?
Did you see the guy I interviewed who looks like Oosterhouse?
I saw the picture.
Oh my Lord! I'll see if I've got it here. Bring it up.
You put it up on Instagram, I think.
Yeah. I think I've got it here somewhere. Honestly, it's not just that he looked like him, but when I was sitting there, when he was doing the interview, he did a great interview. I'll bring him up here. He did this great interview, but as I'm interviewing him, I can just think, he looked exactly like Paul.
Yeah,
there he is. And his sort of mannerisms. I actually called Paul up and said, were you in Port Lincoln about 45 years ago? Maybe got drunk one night and, it's a bit of vague. But and it's a doppelganger. But it was, honestly, and he's such a lovely guy. And he's so brave. He's got so many attributes like Paul as well. To talk openly about all these injured people in a small town takes courage, because people are going to get angry with you because you're not supposed to bring this stuff up. And he was nervous about doing it, but he still said, no, let's do it. So huge admiration for the man. Yeah, very brave. And I gravitate to the brave. And I want to thank you for coming on, man. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss before we call it quits? I'm so glad you said yes. And I'm so glad we had no idea what we we're going to talk about apart from some sculpting. It's been joyous.
Yeah, I knew this was big, and I was asking for this for a couple of years, Michael, and
cool.
Maybe send you messages in different forms, and someone even gave me a phone number that was yours, but it wasn't yours. And, I've just wanted to talk with you on this space, in this space, because you have an ability to, I guess, bring out the best in people.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, so it helps. It helps. I know a lot of people get a lot from this show, and I'm a drop in the ocean, and I'm grateful, and it came at the right time. So thank you. And
no worries. Maybe it's meant to happen.
Yeah, I was ready. I wasn't before.
You were ready. You shone, brother. That was a gorgeous interview. People are loving it. And what they're loving now is we live in a world of darkness and lies. And that's why anyone who has the courage to be truthful. Just glows. Yeah, what a great interview. Here goes. Just glows. And yeah, I wish you the best, David. Please stay in touch, and maybe go from there. It was really gorgeous to meet you.
Yeah, and you too, Michael. And you know, I know you're on the right path, and you found a beautiful.
Oh,
woman.
thanks. I'm going to go out with a song called "Taxi Lover" that I wrote when I was 19 or 20, I think, and I was very alone, and I didn't know where I was going, and I just wanted someone to come on a journey with me. And so the crazy idea for the poem was that I'd get a woman and we'd get in a taxi and we'd hide underneath the back seat. That's like, you know, the old liner seats. And we just we'd hide away from the world, watching all the people sitting upon us and the, you know, red lights and stuff, and until we got separated by the taxi driver at the end of the night. It's an incredibly crazy idea. But I worked in it for a while and then I forgot it. And then AI comes along and puts music to it. And I thought, okay, wow, all right, thanks. You heard it. So
I love it.
I'm going out with this. This is called Taxi Lover. Take care, brother. Really great to meet you. See you. And I'm just saying now, just as a pitch, so I'll just get it up. So now Windsor is in Victoria.
Yes,
and
that's right. So
it's opening on the 6th of February. So, is it over or is it still going?
It's open until the 15th of February, which is my birthday.
Oh,
and I'm going to be
hey, happy birthday, man.
Loading up the truck on my birthday for any sculptures that need to come home. So if anyone wants
and
to
this
help
is
me,
on the 240, hard to read.
248? Yep, 248, correct. 248.
High Street, Windsor. So if you want to go and see what David does, it's in a gallery in Windsor, which is in Victoria, and I think it's near Paran, and go down there and check out his work. I actually think I know where that gallery is, but go check out his work, and maybe you're lucky you meet him, have a chat. Anyway, this is it. This is Taxi Lover. Tomorrow we have a woman coming on who's going to an Iranian woman who, if it all goes ahead, is going to give us an insight to what's actually happening in Iran from the Iranian people. So should be a very powerful interview. So that's on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Melbourne time. Take care again. This is Taxi Lover. Stay in the studio. I'll have a chat after you go. See ya.
Okay, very good, Michael.
Taste my affection in a taxi filled with air fresh and sweat and polite kisses goodbye. And we will find lost faces in the windows and discarded hearts crushed beneath the gap where the two seats join. Down there where their pockets spill and their silent farts collect, until the bleary driver come night shifts end will thrust down his hand and separate either you from me or me from you. So come on girl, why not slip down here with me below the false laughs and the silence of others. Submerged we'll slip condoms from wallets or graffiti our poetry along their spines. Deep hidden, we'll swoon to the old lady's perfume, smirk to the popular draining their batteries dry, and touch to the whispers of the lovers wrestling. Will I ever find you, my love? And that's when we'll kiss, madly kiss, liberated tongues escaping starving lips, as the driver mumbles Sri Lankan at another set of red traffic lights. Aroused by our hiding, we'll stroke to their tempo, foreplay to their drugged and their drunken beat, before making love to the lonely tune of their fingers drumming on the vinyl. Drum, my love. Drum to me. Yes, come on, my love, come hide with me amongst the pens, hair clips, and scrawled numbers discarded on the back of those spent flip-top matches. And together, for a night, we'll try outrun the sleep, until the world has been driven to where it should be, and that inevitable hand will rip either you or me free, and leave the other here like a spent cigarette lighter, and leave the other here aglow with the ghost of our